Okay. So we will be carrying out these database design development and web-based development units in parallel. And what we need to start with is maybe with a database design. Yeah. Do you have any? Have you studied before the database development in any of units?
We start, but honestly speaking, we start just only the books by the all the ways, but I couldn't understand all the things.
In the database?
Yes, but the
Yeah.
fundamental things I study and to try to understand, but I don't know how to, I mean, read all, how to make assignment or this kind of things. It's make a problems because I couldn't
Yeah.
find out any much.
How about Natasha? You?
I read through the books now. I'm trying to understand each word and search them online, but I didn't start with the assignments and.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually the reason behind is that honestly, let me go here. 1 second. Right. Do you remember the table of contents?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do you remember the table of contents that I had shown you before?
What table of content?
Table of content of the book.
No,
Peter Norton. Okay, no worries. Peter Norton. Introduction to computers. Okay, here it is. Right. Introduction to computers is the basic slide. Yeah. Presenting the internet that may help you for the next unit, the web-based development. Yeah. And then creating a website is also related. Yeah. And interacting with computer may be basic data, and video may not be relevant. Processing data. Yeah. Since you will be dealing with the database, yeah, then you should have a basic information that how data is stored into different forms, like the capacities and other things. Then operating system may not be necessary at the moment. And then networks, you have a next unit as a networks. Then applying internet technologies, this is also relevant with your next unit, the web-based development methods. Yeah. And database management system itself. And there is another unit, the information systems. And software development methodologies is also the core units. And information security and other things are also the core things to be studied in your level 5 unit. Am I right that these are related chapters with your units?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. 1 second, I need to log the meeting. Yeah, okay, it's already logged. Yeah, the reason that Mr. Singh sent me the message that from the students from the business, they might join you. Well, so Now I can again advise you, yeah, that you need to study these, basic, chapters one by one, which are relevant with your, units, and we start with the database now. Is that okay?
Okay, no problem, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically this one was a chapter 11, database management systems. Yeah. And I will go through little bit quicker, that because we have to discuss, the learning outcomes, as well as, the assignment briefs, so that you should be able to be comfortable for doing your assignments. Database
Okay.
management systems, yeah, store large collection of data. Obviously, when you needed to store the data onto a file or notepad, it might be good for few, records, but will not be, helpful to store everything, in a proper way. Is that right? At
Yes,
some
it's
point,
right.
some point, you need a kind of software to store your large data and manage that data, organize that data, and so that it becomes your data storage system. Makes sense?
Yes.
Obviously, if you have a records for, any business organization, let's say employees, if you have an online store, if you have any, school, so lots of data cannot be stored into one file, and cannot be managed easily. So that's why this is a kind of database management system, features. Then the database itself stores a collection of related items. It won't be the case that sometime, for example, you can note down or store the uh, data related with your daily life. For example, if you are doing the purchasing from the stores, you are holding the receipts, and then at the same time, you wanted to note down your, what should I say, for example, uh, schedule of anything into the same file. Here is the word stores a collection of related items. Whenever you wanted to store the data, it should be related. It should be predefined. Then and then it will make a sense of the database. Otherwise, it will be a flat file. Collection is arranged in a structure. So, before you use any database, you should have a structure of the database. Without a structure, you cannot use the database, or you cannot utilize the database, right? So
Yes.
structure is important. In what structure your data will be stored? So that organizes and describes the data. The structure would organize and describe the data, often includes helper commands. Also, obviously, once the data is within the database, it will help you to organize the documents as well. So two different types are there.
Sorry, I couldn't catch it.
That's just about two different types of, we come to the next slide. Yeah.
Okay.
If you could have a look at how the structure of the database is. If I ask you that, okay, open the notepad and write down your name, date of birth, your city, and postal code, how you will be writing? Obviously, you will be writing, unorganized, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay. While if you are talking about the database structure, there will be the data stored into the table, yeah, which is called the relational database. Yeah. So here is a field name, first name, last name, company name, address, city, state, and then itself the data is a field. Yeah. And the whole line is called a record. Yeah. So that's the structure of a database. No matter if it is written in a tabular form and stored in any software, for example, it could be stored into the Access or Excel, still you would call it a database. Yeah, we go for the database fields. field. What was the field? An entity within the database. Yeah, there can be number of fields, into one record.
So what you said,
in one column.
Entity of database that called field.
Field is an individual entity.
Okay, individual entity that called a field.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, of a record. What do you call a record? Record is a collection of individual field names. Yeah. Record is a collection of individual fields. Yeah. When you say a field name, it means the name of the field, and the field itself is the data within a record. Yeah. Then we go ahead. Yeah. Field holds an individual piece of data within a record, are named descriptively, often called a column. Yeah. Because the data is based on the record is based on number of fields, and they are field is within a column. So for example, there can be multiple columns in a record. Yeah. For example, phone book examples, name, address, email, these are the field names, and the data itself, within a column would be called a field. Yeah. And field data. Fields may contain no data. Right. Basically, I will need to go little bit quick.
Does it mean can I leave the field like empty if we
Sorry?
don't have the? Does it mean we can leave the field empty if required, if there's no information?
Yeah. Obviously, for example, within a record here, if you don't have a postcode, yeah, you can leave it empty.
Or can we make it the record that is the information must be we need it?
Can we?
If any kinds of database, a simple example, they make it that is a required data, like a name, first name, last name is required. So is it possible to make it like that to required?
Yes, obviously you need to make it a primary field, a primary key, and you can, put some checks on this attributes that this is non-empty. So the database management system will not let you leave it, empty. Right? Okay. I go ahead further. Records. One full set of fields. So in one row, all the variables, all the fields would have been filled, often called a row. For example, this is one record, Simit, Joe, 1, 2, 3, Simit, some street and some number. Yeah. So
can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what is the difference between row and column?
What is the difference between
a row and column or field?
The row is a record.
Okay.
Yeah. A column is a one field of a record.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So databases may have unlimited rows. Yeah. When you talk about one individual, one complete entry, you would call it a record. Yeah. Like, for example, you can say that this is a database. Yeah. Then there is a table. Yeah. Within the table, there are number of records. Yeah. And each record will have a different fields. Make sense?
Yes, it makes sense.
So the database has a table in the relational form. What are the relational databases? The relational databases store the data in tabular form. Yeah. And then in tabular form, you have multiple records, and each record is based on number of fields. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, we go ahead further. Now we define little bit more about the records. Now tables. One complete collection of records is called the tables. Right? Database may have thousands of tables. Right? Forms. Present one record to the user. What happens? Basically, there are different tiers of the database. Yeah.
What is the tier?
Tier is the level. Yeah. Level, like
one kind of
TIER, tiers. Yeah. For example, there can be normally two tiers in every database. Like that one tier, the backend where the data is stored, and the second tier is to view the data. Yeah. And there can be a third tier as well, that backend the data is stored. The middle tier will work as an intermediary channel, and the third tier can be any user interface. Not necessary that you are able to view this data into a form, or you could view the data into a tabular form.
That means even the tier is the interface, like first it's viewer, second logical, which is the working in the background, and the third is the middle.
Yeah, I'm coming to those definitions in the next things.
Okay.
So
All right.
the logical view, like the physical view, these things are the alternative terminologies of the database tiers, right? So these forms represent a record, and they are on the front design view. Reports produce printed result from the database. So the front view, is the reports, and they are generated with the middleware, and obviously which can include this summarized data as well. For example, we can say like a processed data.
What that means for the report? I mean database. Why purpose used for the report in database?
What is the purpose of the reporting database?
Yeah.
Very
is the
simple.
report?
If you wanted the custom results, yeah. For example, you needed only the list of students from the students record who are 90% regular. Okay. Then report will give you the only your intended results. Okay.
Okay.
Then flat file excuse me, flat file databases normally typically has only one table. As I explained before, when you started to store your data into a single file, yeah, then you will hardly have an option to store and manage the data, and that file is called a flat file, which may have only one table. If multiple, each has a separate file. What will happen, for example, if you wanted to store the different sorts of data into different files, then obviously you will mix it up, and you would rather prefer to create the different files for your data. So that's the disadvantage. Useful for simple data storage needs, hard to manage large data needs, can waste disk space, right? So this is about the flat files, not the databases. But it is also important to note, if you are not using the database, it means you are using the flat files. And obviously, when you store the data, you can call it a flat file databases, right? Now we come to the relational databases. Relational database will have
I couldn't get the previous one properly. Can you a little bit of more explain, please?
To be honest, if I will explain, go into the slide in very detail, yeah, then we will finish the whole 1 hour. But I again repeat for you, yeah. And I would leave a kind of some of the basic needs after you study and repeat these slides, and then you can ask the questions next time. Does it make a sense? Because we have to achieve a target, and if I will not be able to finish this slide by today, then we will be late in achieving the target.
No, the question was only, can you just explain us in few simple sentences what a flat file database is? Because
Okay.
what you say is just written there, and it's not clear to us.
Okay.
Because we can read it, what you just said. So we need
Okay.
something else to understand. Any other sentence?
Flat file is not a type, to be honest. As I told you initially, that if you wanted to store the data, for example, it's not a type indeed. Yeah. Database is a formal software, a system, management system. When you don't use the database, that is called a flat file. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Yes, clear now.
Yeah. Is it okay, Natasha?
Yeah, it's fine now. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So typically it has only one table, even if it doesn't have a table, yeah. But the term flat file is used when you use any form of data, yeah. And it says useful for simple data storage needs, hard to manage large data, can waste disk space, something like that. So quickly, that when you don't use database, when you use any type of form, storing like in Word, in Notepad, that's the flat file. Yeah, should I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay.
It's fine.
But I will need your cooperation as well. What I want, that I will prepare the advanced notes, yeah, so that you could quickly go through, and if you have a questions, and then what we might need to do, we might make a questions and answers session at the end of the session. Will it be fine?
Yeah, that's fine, no problem.
Yeah. The reason that I have been advised from Mr. Singh, that obviously you guys need to complete this course and assignments by the time, yeah. And due to the nature, if we will have the sufficient time, then we can definitely spend on the questions and answers. But at least our target should be completed, that okay, particular session completed particular topic. Does it make a sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So okay, let me go ahead. Now we come to the word relational databases. Yeah. So the relational database is normally called the data stored in tabular form. Yeah. There can be different types of databases as well. It's not necessary that every time you see the let me 1 second, let me get a annotation. Sorry. Yeah. Relational database, I shown you that the data is stored into the table, into the fields, and into the columns. Yeah. But they could be stored into other structure as well. Did you get it?
Oh, yep.
Because the data structure can be, there's a complete subject, the data structures. We are talking about the database structure, but the data structure can have many forms like list, tree, yeah, and hash table, and many forms. That's another entirely different topic, yeah, that what structures can be possible. But we quickly go through that. Relational database is within the tables, and these are related by common fields like relationship or join, or these tables can be organized as well. Most common forms of data is the relational databases. Maintaining data is easier than the flat file. No wasted disk space. Is it clear?
Yes, clear.
Yeah. Now ERD, entity relationship diagrams. Yeah. You, before creating the database, you need to define the relationship between the entities. Yeah. That one customer, for example, one employer can have many customers. One customer will have different fields, and you need to relate with those things. So we will definitely be reading these entity relationship diagrams and its concepts later in the next lectures. I go ahead further.
Just before you start to do your database management, you need to design this diagram.
Sorry, say again.
Does it mean before you start doing your database, you do your diagram?
So sorry, but the voice was breaking. I mean, database design. Yeah, there are the
Yes.
1 second. Let me come to quickly here. If you have a look on the learning outcomes, understand database management system, developing databases for organization, like structure of organization, data elements, data sets form. If you come here, database design, then you need to learn database entity relationships. Yeah, entities, relationships, attributes, keys, data types, and normalization. So that's a complete topic that we will be doing by the time.
Sorry.
Yeah.
My question was, before I start to do the database management, anything on that, I have to do the EA diagram before I start working.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was my question.
Okay, no problem. Then database management system itself. Yeah. When you say a database, it means collection of data, right? But when you say database management system, there's a program that controls the database. Is it clear?
Yes, it is.
Is it clear that what is the difference between the database and the database management system? Sorry, the voice is breaking.
Mr. Shubro is clear.
Yeah. Hello, go ahead. Yeah.
Mr. Shubro, do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It's clear. I understand that. What do you mean?
Okay. So the database is the collection of data. Yeah. And the database management system is a program that controls the database, which allows entering the data, querying the data, printing reports, supports thousands of users, includes tools to protect the data as well, like a security things. Then working with the databases, what you need to do, you will need to create the tables, list necessary fields. Steps to define a field may include the descriptive name of the field, the field type, like, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So like in the previous table, there were, like here, name of the field, the first name, last name, company name, they have a type, like they are the, you can say alphabetic. Yeah, the address will be alphanumeric. Yeah, and the postcode could only be the numeric one. Yeah, you know well that what's the difference between the alpha basic or numeric.
Yeah.
Now, field working with database, again, field types. Describing the type of the data stored, type of the field. Basically, when you talk about the time, then for example, you will be dealing with like from 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock until 24 4 hours. Yeah. If you will be talking about the something else like a names, then it will have the alphabetical type. Same in the databases, you can have a text field, numeric field, date and time, logical field, binary field, counter field, memo type fields. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yeah. And again, there is some definitions behind these text fields, numeric fields. I mean the structure, that what the structure of a text field can hold. Like how many bits, how many bytes, how many the quantity of data it can hold. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay. Working with database. Entering data into a table. Users type data into a field. Data must be entered accurately. Obviously, if the data type is a numeric, you won't be able to store anything wrong into the field. Yeah. Forms are typically used for data entry. By what happens that at the back end of the database, you need to uh, define the type of the field, and at the form you create a checks basically. Yeah. What you need to do is, if you are entering the wrong type of data, for example in the number, instead of providing the number, you are entering the character data or any the different format, like the any symbols, then the front view, the forms can check the at the end the user level. For example, when you wanted to create the what should I say, an email, do you notice that they don't allow you to write anything unwanted?
No.
You understand? They are called the data validation. So working with entering the data validation is also applied. The constants help to verify the data. The constants are defined for the fields about the data type. Yeah.
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 Constants are defined to verify the data. And sorry, that these terminologies might go over your head. Yeah. But you will need to read again and again these, the terminologies. Yeah. You need to create the notes, then and then you will able to, memorize these things. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Working with database, viewing records. Data sheet view shows all records. Yeah. Filters can limit the records shown. For example, if you wanted to see the records or employees which are, for example, who are working in the organization for more than 3 years, yeah, you will get a maybe limited number of the records. If you are interested to know the employees who have a salary less than, for example, 15,000 a year, then you will be filtering. So forms allow you, data sheet will give you all records, filters will give you a customized list, and forms allow you to review only one record. What are the forms? This is the form. Basically, this is the form. It will only give you one record. Is it clear?
Do you say farm or farm?
1 second. Say again.
Did you say farm or farm?
Forms.
Okay.
Entering data into a table, users can type data into a field. Viewing forms. You can view the data into a data sheet. Like this. This is the data sheet, right? And then you can filter the data for a particular set of records. You can view the data in a form view. Form is like this one is a form. It is showing only the data of one employee. Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are the in different ways you are only watching the data. Yeah. Now view records. Any question from the view records?
No.
Okay. Sorting records. Sorting allows you to order records based on a field. Okay. You know well that how to sort the any particular data. For example, if you will be using the Excel sheet, you will be able to sort the data. For example, according to the age, according to the distance, according to the size, in many forms. Multiple sub-reports.
That means filterization.
Sorry?
That means filtering, basically. Sorting the data is filtering.
Is what?
Filtering.
I won't say that, no, the filtering is not the sorting.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorting is the arranging the order.
Okay. And filtering?
Filtering is, for example, if you have 100 records in a data in one table, and if you wanted to look at only, for example, female, the employees, yeah, then it will filter, yeah. For example, there are 50 female employees. Then, if you wanted to look at only the female, employees, then it will filter out. And if you wanted to again further sort the female employees according to the age group, for example, then the sorting of the records will be said. Clear?
Clear.
Okay. Now, sorting allows you to order the records based on a field. Yeah. Multiple subsort resolves ties. Yeah. For example, if you wanted to sort according to the age and then according to the salary, then it will make a tie. Yeah. Possibly, if the salary could be, given to the young, employee more, so this will make a problem. Several types of sorts: alphabetical, numerical, chronological, ascending, descending. Querying a database. A statement that describes the desired data. When you wanted to retrieve the data from the database is called the querying the database. We have very short time now. We have to finish the session, in a few minutes. Let me quickly go through this. Querying the database means retrieving the data from the database, and which is used through the SQL, structured query language. For example, select first name, last name, phone name from the database if you are interested to know. Do you have an idea about the SQL?
Not that much idea. Because I know only the name SQL database.
Yeah, that's called the SQL, structured query language. When you inquire the database, let's say if you are only interested to know the first name, last name, and the phone number, then you have to create a query to the database. So then we will be definitely going through in detail that what is the querying, and then there is generating reports. As explained previously, that you wanted particular reports to be taken from the front view by using the certain queries. Here is the end of the chapter at the moment. Sorry, that it was little bit quicker, yeah, and but I had to complete this, at least this chapter, for today. So any questions,
No question.
any advice that how did I went through?
It was fast.
Yeah.
I would love to have another session with you, which helps me to sort out a few problems when I got questions,
Yeah.
like more classes.
Yeah.
This is alright
Yeah.
for you if you find more time.
Yeah, to be honest, I had to complete this, this one today definitely, so that by next time you should be able to ask the questions. And obviously, uh, if I wanted to stop, then I will not have to, completed the target. And we want to definitely make it, scheduled. Yeah. Okay. For example, whatever the learning outcomes are, we have to cover these learning outcomes, and then apart from these this schedule, we can have another session for the questions and answers. And obviously during the session you are most welcome to ask the questions as well.
All right, thank you.
So I think that we have to I mean this meeting software may be used by the other session by Mr. Singh. So I would call next time for the Tuesday again. Is that the correct timing?
Tuesday, yeah, should be all right. Tuesday.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
around
Is it evening or the morning?
12 p.m.
It's fine.
That's
Afternoon.
fine,
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
So
All right.
feel free to send me any email, any questions. Yeah, and I will try my best to respond you. And I will start gathering the more material for you, so that you can study into the depth for these units. So ultimately, I would again advise you to go through this database slide again. This is very basic one, that our next slides will be depending on the core books, which are the core learning outcomes of the unit. Today's was very basic one. Yeah, and again, as advised, you try to relate the other chapters of Peter Norton, yeah, with your units, and come up with a little more advanced study. Yeah, makes sense?
Yes. I think till next week we will have finished the whole book, so it won't be a problem with that. Now we know how it works on the website.
Yeah, definitely it will help you, and I will try to give you the.
It will not. It already helped us because it's really good. The book is really good.
Yeah, that's why in university courses there is a one unit, introduction to computer. That's entirely independent, very basic unit to be taught to the beginners, so that whenever they wanted to take the selective units, they should have a basic knowledge of every unit, like a database, website, security, and many more things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then see you next week. And if you have any questions, any difficulties, you are most welcome to contact by the email, and I would try to give you the answers as quickly as possible. And I will be optimizing the Moodle account as well. You need to continuously, you know, try to access your Moodle account so that you should get a relevant, you know, sources of information over there, material and many more. From time to time, we will be optimizing that, you know, resource as well. Yeah. So, okay then, see you next week. Bye everyone.
Bye. See you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.